The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees all things new. I am Nato Agbayani and I'm streaming live from Quezon City. Good evening. Welcome to the special edition of Para Sa Bayan on TNC. Hello, and you're back on the special edition of TNC, Para Sa Bayan. This is for our second anniversary. So we were supposed to have our congresswoman, our good congresswoman, Kong BH or Bernadette Herrera, with us tonight. Unfortunately, she had an emergency, a family emergency. So tonight we will be discussing with you for an hour all the things that happened in the campaign and probably the entire election. So let me start by trying to give some statistics. All right. So some of us, I think the three hosts here voted for different candidates, and well, of course, the results have been different. We have a new president who's been proclaimed and a new vice president. But let me run the numbers. My source is from Rappler. So we have Bongbong Marcos having 31,104,175. This is May 13, the 98.35% of the election results. So he got 58.74. Lenny Robredo or VP Lenny got 14,888 822,051. Again, this is May 13 results, or 27.99, a little over. Well, if you round it off, that's about 28%. And then running for third, we have Manny Pacquiao, who is 3,629,805, or it's like 6.8%, almost 7%. And number four, of course, is Isko Moreno Dumagoso with 1.9 million 10 votes, or 3.59, or roughly 4%. Then we have Ping Lacson at 882,236, 1.67%, almost 2%. Then we have mga Datu, Abella, of course, Calyodi, we have Norby Gonzalez, and Jose Montemayor, garnering about 11%. Now, we go to the vice presidents, for example. Sara Duterte got 31,561,948, or roughly 61.29 of the total votes. Kiko Pangilinan, 9,232,883, or 17.93, almost 18%. Uh, Tito Soto got 8.183184 or 15.89%. Doc Willie Ong, of course, got 1.851498, roughly 3.6%. Then Atienza got 267,530 or 0.52%. And then, of course, there's Lopez, Bello, Serapio, and David. So, my take on this, for example, is obviously the assuming I don't wanna marites about so-called dayaan or so-called these are of course speculations from different camps, but let's presume that all this data, all the results are um, official, and it is what we call legal official or results, no. So it appears that those who voted for Marcos or Bongbong Marcos also voted for Sara Duterte for the Uni Team, right? Then for Lenny Robredo, she got 14.8 million, and her vice president, our friend Kiko Pangilinan, got 9 million. So it's possible that, well, these are just my presumptions. No, it's possible that some Lenny supporters voted for Kiko Pangilinan as vice president, and some voted for Tito Soto. So I think here in where I'm from, Quezon City, I think the councilors, the city councilors, those that belong to the administration, mostly voted for Soto. And Kiko, I think, got votes also from Quezon City, mostly maybe from District 4, where he used to be a councilor. And we have, I just like to go back and then look at the numbers of Pacquiao. Of course, the numbers of Pacquiao and Atienza. So it seems that, well, those who voted for Atienza most probably are from one religious group. And then those who voted for Pacquiao, possibly this could have been Mindanao votes. And then, of course, the people who have been because Pacquiao declared that running for presidency much earlier than Isko Moreno, for example. But if you notice, the votes of Isko Moreno and Doc Willie Ong uh, are practically the same. So it appears that similar to the Unity, those who voted for Yorme also voted for Doc Willie Ong. And then the rest, like Lacson, of course, Lacson got less votes than Soto. Uh, and then Mamundo Dato got 259 576. So there's really some differences. So let me try and check the Senate, no, the Senate results, no. So if you look at the Senate results for 2022, we have, of course, a newbie, Robin Padilla, who is, well, artista, no? But we have also had different, like, celebrities, for example, si Herbert Bautista also ran. And then a lot of people. So I'll run the numbers with you. So for number one spot, this is May 13 again, results from election 2022. So Robin Padilla got 26,454,562. I know for a fact that a lot of our Muslim brothers voted for him as well. And I noticed because I was on the ground, no, during the campaign in many areas, particularly Bulacan, and it seems that the Muslim communities have indeed supported Robin Padilla, yung mga what they term as balik loob ng mga Muslim, no? So I think Robin Padilla was supported by a huge group of Muslims, also the fans, I suppose, no? And then Lauren Lagarde got 23,992,761. After that is Rafi Tulfo, 23 million. I'll just round it off. All right. Win Gatchalian, 20 million. Cheese Escudero, 20 million. Mark Villar, 19 million. Alan Peter Cayetano, 19 million. Mig Subiri, 18 million. Joel Villanueva, 18 million plus. JV Ejercito got 15 million. 15,688,993, while Risa got 15,273,594. So hindi nagkakalayo. And then we have Jingoy Estrada, who got on number 12, 14,966,887. So what you have now in the Senate, I believe, is of course there's the new ones, of course, is Robin Padilla. Lauren Legarda has been uh, a senatorial brand name, if you call it that, for the longest time. Rafi Tulfo, of course, um, because of his shows probably and the showing of ACT-CIS in the previous elections, is really gained ground and who is number three now. Cheese Escudero is also a known brand, no? A known brand. A new one would be Mark Villar, but I think the build, DPWH, the Mark the Builder stock sa voters, no? So that's quite good. I mean, um, but you have like the mom who's still in the Senate and Mark Villar. And then you have Alan Peter Cayetano with a sister also in the Senate. Well, Joel Villanueva is technically independent, and the branding for Testaman and Trabajo, I think that stuck sa mga minds ng tao because, during the pandemic, trabaho was so scarce. So people couldn't, wala talagang trabaho. Even now, people are struggling to get jobs. So you need to feed the family, and there are no jobs, or if there are jobs, we're just starting. I've gone around the restaurants, and you know, meron mga nag-uumpisa pa lang uli. Hindi pa fully built yung some are operating 80%, 90%, some 50%. Um, so kailangan pa rin yung trabaho. Then we have JB Ejercito and Jingo Estrada who are half brothers, no, in the Senate. And then one, shall we say, a representative of the left and left of center, si Risa Ontiveros, who was the only one who made it from among the, well, so-called progressives. No? And then you would notice that 13, 14, 15, 16, you have Jojo Binay at number 13. You have Herbert Bautista, our kababata, who is at number 14. You have Gibo Chidoro, former presidential hopeful, who is at number 15, and Guillermo Eleazar, the former PNP chief, who also showed very strongly in the campaign. I mean, for a newbie, he showed fairly well in the campaign. Then you have, of course, um, the others who lost, who didn't make it, but whose campaigns started pretty well. So and then they say that in this particular campaign, itong 2022, a lot of money really flowed to the people, no, from the local candidates. Of course, the local candidates have their own sources, but I believe that a lot of there was so much money going around, and I think whether we admit it or not, vote buying was really pervasive in the local elections. There were some reports, of course, these are still subject to your scrutiny and research. There were some reports that people were receiving 5,000 each. Not dati, pagka pamilya-pamilya, nag-vote buying, ito 5,000 para sa pamilya. This time, it's really I mean, hair raising, no, 5,000 pesos for each individual, and people are succumbing to it because, yeah, there's hunger, there's poverty, and um, parang ano na, highest bidder. But of course, this is something that subject to more deconstruction. No? Kailangan i-research pa natin. Tingnan natin ano, if people or na-affect talaga yung results na elections. No? I heard we also have some congressman clients, and in some cases, I think they were saying, nako, um, natalo ako before kasi hindi ako nag-third wave. Ibig sabihin, nag-third wave ng giving, or shall we say, ano, no, um, getting votes. So, yun yung nakakalungkot. I think there was a time before where you could really campaign by the merits of your own, your education, your accomplishments, yung ano sa tao, yung rapport sa tao, yung relationship sa tao. Now it has become quite transactional. Of course, this is not felt in the national sa national campaigns, but sa local, it's really, shall we say, money is flowing. But again, we need to really be maybe there's a need for new institutions to be set up, no? Parang ano na ba yung basis ng leadership? But of course, there are cases sa local campaigns that candidates won even if they were not so moneyed, no? So ano yan, yun yung mga showcase, like the likes of Vico Soto who won before, no? And then won again a second term. And then there are some cases in the provinces na talagang tumakbo na yung mga dynasty, like in the Samar area, no, talagang very very strong yung families, no, families who have won the elections, from governor to vice governor to the mayors. And it's really I think I discussed this before in the radio program of CLTV about yung mga family dynasties, no. Uh, Sabi nila, 'di ba dapat we do not allow dynasties. That's really a subject for discussion sa mga maraming forum or sa mga fora. Ano ba talaga? Is it helping? No? I think generally, I mean, tolerable naman siguro yung uh, tatakbo yung isang family member, and then after that tatakbo uli yung next, no? But if it's really very pervasive na lahat, kunyari in the province, kunyari Bulacan, we had Daniel Fernando and Alex Castro who won, no? Who are not related, but there are some cases. For example, there's 21 municipalities and 3 cities, no, sa Bulacan. So if you look at it, a lot of people really spend talagang grabe din yung local elections in those areas, even in Samar Leyte region. And then we hear of no, yung maraming irregularities. Even in, well, Mindanao is a big place, but in some areas in Mindanao, it was the teachers now shading, no, shading the 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 ballots. So parang it's really hard to try and prove all these things, although yung iba meron daw evidences. But at the end of the day, I think aside from the money, social media accounts, trolls, ang daming factors na ka-affect nitong elections natin. So, for example, yung social media armies of some people, no, meron na umaabot ng 1,000. Of course, this is the Marites in me talking about it, but there are proofs, no, that a lot of trolls were used, a lot of social media accounts were used, and of course, we're not saying that no, one camp did it. I mean, it what we're saying now is like Napakaraming tao na merong ng awareness sa paggamit ng social media, ng celebrities, yung mga influencers and nano-influencers, creators. Marami na, di ba? Hindi lang ano, no, hindi naman siguro nag-decline yung role ng advertising. But there was a time, I think in 2007 and 2004 elections, very critical, for example, sa senador, yung TV advertisement. So you really had to spend a lot on TV. Now, you're actually spending on social media, um, lesser yung cost, well, hindi rin siguro lesser, pero mas maraming outlets, and you hire mga influencers, celebs to really endorse you, no? Di ba? Dati TV talaga, for example, sila Jolina Magdangal or sila Sara Geronimo, they were hired to become ano no influencers sa TV or endorsers. We call them endorsers at that time. Ngayon iba na eh. Parang even the nano influencers, the groups, very strong yung fraternities. I noticed that a lot of fraternities have gone into the party list system. A lot of people advocating, for example, legal gambling. Ano, nag-participate sa elections. So, well, anyway, going back to the national elections, let me just siguro hindi naman siguro analysis from a data point of view, but if you can see the actual the actual numbers, so ano talaga, medyo we don't know, like this is the first time, it's quite historic for Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte to reach that level of majority, not even in the time of PRRD, no, or President Duterte, that he got so many votes. So now, what's the scenario going to be? What's the scenario going to be? My educated guess is uh, we will see a Marcos Duterte partnership for the next 12 years. That's not my fearless forecast, but I think that's the general impression I'm getting. So Bongbong Marcos will rule for 6 years, and then definitely it will be, of course, they will transition unless things go wrong. They will transition to Sara Duterte for another 6 years. I heard sa grapevine na it's so important to Madam Imelda Marcos that Bongbong wins in her lifetime. So I think she got her wish, and so uh, that's my analysis. It's going to be a 12-year rule. It's going to be a 12-year rule of the Marcos Duterte tandem. And then that, well, sabi ko, very strong din yung opposition, no? I mean, magiging very active yung opposition ng Pinks. So obviously, it's very active now. They're regrouping, and some, I suppose, like for those of us who joined ISCO, well, right now we're transitioning. I think ISCO announced that ano, parang hindi naman full support, but he's saying na maybe we can support the administration tapos na election. And I don't know. People have different opinions. People have different views. But my guess is yung 14 million or 15 million na nag-levy would now, of course, it's going to be turned into an NGO. And, well, people will see that as the opposition. And yan na yung magiging parliament of the streets. So this is going to, of course, magkakaroon ng struggle, ng power struggle. Ang thinking ko, of course, sabi nga nila, the congressmen who are non-aligned with the unity team may transfer to the administration. Of course, why? Because the administration, the presidency controls half of the entire budget of the entire country. So pag ikaw ang presidente, yung cabinet, yung buong cabinet, kalahati ng pera ng buong Pilipinas, you are in control. So, half of it, yeah, of course, andyan yung power of the purse ng Kongreso, ng Senado. Pero at the end of the day, what is Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte interested at? No? Of course, tingin ko, again, people may have different opinions. My thinking now is, well, Bongbong Marcos Jr. or Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is not the strong man. Is not Marcos or Marcos Sr. So he will try, to my mind, he will try to uh, clear their name. Of course, this is people will protest. No, this is a democracy, so people will do that. They will try to clear their name. He will try to rule with a different, maybe not an iron hand, but a more, shall we say, a more reconciliatory way or manner. Right now, I think the cabinet that's being formed is getting also people from other camps. No, ang fear ko lang, of course, well, hindi naman fear. It's a democracy, so those in the Lenny camp can continue to do. Kasi ang left, isang ano is, left cannot find itself in the current administration. So the left of center will join the pinks, di ba? But of course, we have people from the left or at least the traditional left na nag-join na rin sa BBM administration even before the proclamation. Even in the campaign, we know of some of our colleagues before sa mass movement na sumama na rin sa BBM campaign, no? For reasons of their own. We do not condemn people, no. This is their own journey, so ganun talaga. But at the end of the day, after the 6 years, you will see parang ganito. People are alleging, of course, historical revisionism. We try to be objective in this show. I have my own opinions on a personal level, but assuming that such is being done now, no? Bongbong Marcos, I believe, will try to maybe not outdo the father in 6 years, but will try to go a different way. That's what I believe. He will try to go a different way. Um, but of course, we know for a fact that nag-start sa PRRD administration, no? Yung ibang-iba ibang-iba yung methodologies. We saw the yellow, pangit naman sabihin yellow. We saw how the administrations before parang prim and proper, and yet the people were also complaining. And I think this is a result also of big frustration sa masses. We know naman na well, people have their own reasons for electing our new administration. But for for my fearless forecast, sinasabi ko nga, I don't think um, I don't think Bongbong will declare martial law. I think he will again do it more reconciliatory. We might, of course, they will try to transition. Siyempre, hindi yung mga cases against PRRD that are being filed will definitely have arrest for the next 6 years. More so when Sara becomes president. So therefore, PRRD would be how old is he? 72 times plus 12 years. So wala na. The cases can be filed in court. Pero yun, I think that was what they're avoiding. So ito na. They have their way now. So we will just go into a break. After the break, we'll go more into like ano ba yung mga programs na pwedeng i-suggest natin sa bagong administration. How will the new Congress behave? How will the new Senate behave? Knowing for a fact na ayan na yung mga tao that we have in the Senate. So I'll try to get back to you after this short break, and we'll do some analysis, kwentuhan, marites uh, more after this break. back on the Para Sa Bayan on TNC. So TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we can make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Please watch Para Sa Bayan with Political Officers League of the Philippines or Paul Phil every Saturday at 7 p.m. We will be coming back for our second season, and then follow us on IG, listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Just search for TNC shows. All right, enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them just for you. All right, so we're back on Para Sa Bayan with TNC. No, I miss my hosts, my co-host, si Girly Amarillo, and of course, with Edward Ligas. Again, we were supposed to have our good friend, Congresswoman BH, to really guide us through what's happening now in Congress and the aspect of, syempre, coming in of the new administration. So, let me now go into kanina we discussed. Nako, thank you for watching Apple Manansala. Ayan pala. Oh, ang dami nanonood. Grabe. Si Wandu watching from Antipolo. And then we have si Coach Cecil, si Coach, oh ayan, watching from Mandaluyong. And then we have Usman Gandamasir watching from Calbayo. We have, of course, Roman Boyson, one of our hosts, who's also watching. May heart, tatlong heart pa. Ha? Pare, kumusta? Shout out. And then, of course, shout out din sa ating mga viewers from the different parts of the Philippines, mga kasama natin sa Political Officers League of the Philippines. So, kanina, we discussed, of course, the national elections, the results, the Senate results, and then we did some konting-konting lang ng mga analysis, and then ano mga mangyayari. Sabi ko nga, there will be a 12-year reign by the tawagin na nating Marcos Duterte partnership. I don't wanna call it anything else. So, with that 12-year reign, syempre, it will provide protection for those running after PRRD for the so-called for the so-called abuses dun sa EKJ, EJK. So again, this is an objective show. We are not here to judge or to give opinions, but rather really to objectively discuss as much as possible about the political landscape. No? Ano ba yung Para Sa Bayan? Because this show is really gusto natin maging educational show siya to teach people objectively ano ba yung nangyayari, what can we contribute, what can we expect, and what should we demand from the new government. Hindi naman pwedeng hindi tayo mag-demand ng mga changes. No? Alam natin for a fact na talagang ang dami nangyayari sa Pilipinas na kailangan nating tugunan at gawa ng paraan. Ang dami pang hindi naaabot. So, yun po ang objective natin dito sa Para Sa Bayan. Maabot natin yung hindi naaabot. Lagi ko nga sinasabi, tao muna. At the end of the day, your public servants or your politicians are there to serve the public interest. I remember, I think, in the speech of my uncle, former Governor Aguido Agbayani, he said na public service is a public trust. And, being a public trust, you cannot use it to enrich yourself. No? Marami namang ways. Marami namang ways para yumaman, no? Wag lang sa poder because that's really taking advantage of people's taxes, which is not ours. It is for the people. Now, alam naman natin marami nangyayari. Of course, there are transactions. Later ko na i-discuss yun. But let me go now into the party list system. So, how does the party list system work? In simple terms, sabihin ko na lang na ganito. The party list system works, kukunin yung 2% from the total number of people who voted for party list. So for example, in the 2019 elections, there were 27 million who voted for party list. Ibig sabihin, di ba yung sa likod ng balota, ano lahat ng party list. So, for example, kunyari, I voted number 84, Alif party list. Kunyari, ano. So, lahat ng bumoto ng party list, kung ano pa yan, BH party list, or whatever, Sibak, or Anwaray, whatever it is. Um, lahat ng bumoto doon, 27 million nga noong 2019. This year, I need to get the data pa, but I think it's quite near, a little over that. So, kukunin yung 2% doon, and they will be kumbaga i-gather yung votes, ira-rank, and then the top, in our case ngayon, top 55, will be joining the House of Representatives. So in the 15th Congress, I was also Chief of Staff of Kalinga Party List. No? This was in with Congresswoman Feriol. That was 15th Congress pa, so matagal na. But in our case ngayon, tignan ko lang yung groups ha. Sige. I will read it. Hindi, hopefully hindi one by one. So there's ACT-CIS, who is number one. There's one rider party list supposedly representing the riders. Tingog, I think this is a Samar Leyte party list. There's four Ps. I'm not too familiar with them. Ako, Bicol, Sagip, ang probinsyano. Yan, I think this is the second or third time. Ang probinsyano. Uswag, Ilonggo. Tutok Tuwin, I think this is the party list of Front Row. Sila Sam Versosa. So, Sibak, party list, of course, of JIL, the Villanueva. Senior Citizens Party List, ito matagal na to, laging nananalo. Duterte Youth, of course. Agimat of the Revillas, Kabataan Party List of the Makabayan Black. Angat, Marino, ako Bisaya, I think of Sunny Lagon. Yeah. Probinsyano ako, LPGMA of the TNC Bayan, if I'm not mistaken. API, I think this is an Ilocano party list. Gabriela, of course, of the Makabayan Black. CWS, which is representing construction workers, but I think also the contractors themselves. So Agri, P3 PWD, ako Ilocano, Kusug, Tausug, so Southern Philippines. Anwaray, of course, the Warais, no? Kalinga party list, of course, of the Ferriols. And then AGA party list, Co-op NATCO of the cooperative sector, Malasakit at Bayanihan, BHW, supposedly representing the barangay health workers, GP party list, of course, BH party list kay BH Herrera and then the team, no? ACT teachers. I'm not sure if this is ACT teachers as the Makabayan Black or not. PGP, which is highly, I think most of the members are from Taogama also. Bicol Saro, Dumper party list, Pinuno, I think hindi ako sure kung sino yung nominees, but it was Lito Lapid in the billboards, no? Abang Lingkod, PBA party list supposedly for athletes, OFW, Abono, Anak Kalusugan, I think that was the party list of former Congressman Mike Defensor, who ran for mayor in Quezon City. Kabayan party list, Magsasaka, I think this is the third term na yan, Magsasaka. And then One Paman, maybe the second term. APEC, ano to, mga pioneers sa party list system to, this the mga electric cooperatives. Patrol, Pusong Pinoy, TUCP, of course, of the labor sector. Patrol, I think this is a party list of some former generals or former police people. Manila Teachers, Ambis, OWA, Philreca, which is also with the electric cooperatives, and Alona. I'm not sure who is behind Alona. No? So, but from what I understand, a lot of party list groups have been transferred from one hand to another, and I think a lot of those running are lawyers, no? or lawyers representing people or sectors supposedly. No? The thing with the party list system from its original intent, ang laki na ng nagbago. So there are some party list groups that they're selling for 25 million just for the name. And then it's so well, in our experience, we've been with the party list groups for so long. Parang ano, no, we want the party list system to work. Maybe in the context of the European models, no, yung sa European models talagang they are serving the interests of the sectors, the marginalized. Ang nangyari sa atin is, well, some political families have bought into the party list system, or some interests, no, interest groups have bought into the system and ran as ano, no, congressmen, and of course won. Well, during my time, it was like it cost the taxpayer 500,000 to run an office, a modest office of a congressman. No? Every month yon. So we had how many congressmen? 250 plus. So now it's more expensive to run the office of one congressman, whether it be district or whether it's a party list. But technically the benefits are the same. Ang nangyayari lang, in your first term, kung malakas ka sa administration, somehow, you are given good, of course, you can lobby for good committees. Usually, ang nangyayari dyan, you get about 10 committees as a newbie congressman. No? So, five committees na more or less, shall we say, merong mga juicy committees, and there are committees that are really for social service. So that's what is recommended for a new congressman. But of course, yung mga juicy committees dyan, sabihin na natin, Games and Amusements Board, yung mga um, committee on ways and means, yan yung mga, and then of course, yung anything that has to do with the resources, no? Because, syempre, the Congress has power of the purse. So ano nangyayari pag nanalo yung isang party list congressman? For example, tatlo yung congressman nila. So you have a budget for three congressmen. Sinasabi ko nga, pag tumakbo kang congressman, usually, your own money. After that, pag nanalo ka ng congressman, ano na yan? Technically, people's money na po ang ginagamit. Why? Um, all of these things come from revenue. Tama po ba? It comes from revenue from taxes, it comes from revenue sa IRA, whatever. So lahat po yan ina-aggregate, nakukuha ng BIR, ina-allocate po yan through the GAA, General Appropriations Act natin. So every year nagpe-prepare ng budget. I'm not sure how much the budget is at this point. Maybe I'm not sure. 5 trillion, napakalaki po. That is why I think during the PRRD administration, we could afford maraming, universal health, free college tuition fee. Sa totoo lang po, maraming laws or batas na nabubuo every year. Every term po sa House or sa Senado. But ang nangyayari, minsan there are legislation that are not funded. So, doon tayo nagkakaproblema if the legislation is not funded by government, because it will not go anywhere, no? So, at the end of the day, ito pong public service, I don't want to think like that, no? Na itong public service is just a play of resources, no? It's also a play of having the right people. For example, meron kang matinong leader. Let's talk of uh, in our case, Quezon City, for example, we have Joy Belmonte as our mayor. Malaki ang resources ng Quezon City, I think 20-something billion or more. The key there is, how are you going to use that? How are you going to allocate that? Having 3.2 million people under you. They say in Makati, like sila Mayor Abby, or she's able to provide allowances for senior citizens. Kasi iba-iba po. Hindi po lahat ng mga bayan o munisipyo or syudad kayang bigay ng allowances. Like for example, yun nga yung comparison natin, Makati and Quezon City. Ilan na po population ng Quezon City? 3.2 million. Ilan po population ng Makati? Half a million. So, at the end of the day, a good congressman or a good senator or a good mayor or vice governor or governor would allocate resources of the people of government to provide what people need. So, nung nagkaroon po tayo ng pandemic, ayuda yun. Hanggang ngayon may pandemic pa tayo. Pero we need to really choose leaders. Or now that the elections are over, we have technically chosen, no, our leaders, and therefore we need to demand that resources of government be allocated appropriately. Ano po ba yung mga problema? Ano ba yung mga suliranin ng Pilipinas? Napakalaki. Sa ngayon nakikita natin ang daming estudyante na hindi nakakapag-aral. So supposed to be there's free college tuition fee, di ba po? Pero ano yan eh, if you translate that, paano yung mga project, paano yung mga laboratory, paano yung mga pamasahe, if the state universities are far from their place, the the board and the logic. So, ganun po, maraming idiosyncrasies. In Quezon City, we've implemented yung tinatawag na libreng sakay. That's a lot of help, no, for the, of course, the riding public. So that's how resources are allocated. Ano po ba yung resources ng gobyerno? For example, I am a governor. And the problems, for example, sa Bulacan, kitang-kita naman yung mga problema. Sa Bulacan, in the portions of Hagonoy, in the portions of Ubando, ano po, lumulubog po. No? And maybe come 2050, these areas will not be livable anymore. And we have a lot of areas like that. So anong nangyayari doon? May problema yung water system, may problema yung sewerage system, may problema yung roads. Parang ang akin lang po hindi na, we cannot say that corruption will be gone in 6 years, in 12 years, maybe not. No? Corruption, sa ngayon, ang corruption is systemic. We know for a fact that mahirap po mag-mention ng mga government agencies, pero we know for a fact na embedded na yan sa ibang government agencies. There are people running the show. Pwedeng magpalit yan ng mga secretary, department, mga USEC, pero there are people running the show sa career level. So, what do we need? What do we need now? We need young people in government, the millennials, the Gen Zs, to come into government, yung mga napakaraming magagaling na bata. Also, because we want to unlearn things. I remember nung time ni Secretary Season, no, he brought in a group of young people to DPWH to start the change. No? And I think that's what we should do in all levels of government mula sa barangay. I'm currently a barangay kagawad here in Quezon City, and even sa barangay lang po, napakaraming changes na kailangan natin ma-realize. So if we cannot do it at the barangay level, how can we do it at the national level? Nag-attend po kami dati on the invitation of Mayor Sara Duterte. Our group from Quezon City went to Davao. And then the speaker was there and he was telling us, ito yung Ambition 2040. And then I asked him, sabi ko, Sir, what's the role of the barangay in Ambition 2040? And lo and behold, I did not get the answer, or I did not get the satisfaction I wanted. I've been in government for quite some time. I've been in Malacanang, I've been in Congress, I've been with the LGUs as consultant, with the different departments of government. And the sad thing there is really the allocation of resources. Dalawa pong bagay di ba? Money, machines, people. Di ba? How do we make good use of that? Sinimplify ko lang po. Of course, it's more complex than that. If you have the right people managing or with the proper technology to manage it, and then you have the right tools, Siguro po ano, I mean, I don't want to oversimplify it, pero ang gobyerno should be able to serve the people better. We have advocates no sa e-commerce, sa technology side na baguhin na natin yung sistema ng governance. During the pandemic, nakita naman natin nakakapag-online transactions na tayo. Ang daming transactions na pwede mo namang schedule, pwede mong gamitin the least resources of government and yet the most efficient delivery of services. Ang dami pa pong gagawin. Kaya po, binuo natin show na to para sa bayan because there's so much more to do. We have elected our leaders. I for one, will not spend 12 years protesting. No? Maybe I will use these 12 years to really mentor young people and teach them to demand from government at all levels, not just the national government, not just from Bongbong Marcos, not just from Sara Duterte. But we need people who are conscious. We need young people who are conscious of what they can do for this country. We need young people to run for government. I mean, yung mga tatakbo sa barangay, whether that's SK, mga kagawad, mga kapitan, mga bata na progressive, maraming new and fresh ideas. Kasi hindi na po kami pwedeng, not for anything, I've been in government for the last, well, hindi naman in government lang. We've been fighting this advocacy for reforms for the last 30 years. And how long will it take us until change is finally done? It has to be done by the young people. What we can contribute for those people who are also in the movement, in the youth movement, in the youth leadership movement, ito yung chance natin na, ano, na yan, lahat naman yan, si Girlie Amarillo, si Edward Ligas, lahat yan nasa youth movement dati, mga youth leaders natin, mga kasama din natin sa streets. But you know, the battlefield is now where we are. So ang atin is let us strive to uh, have government spend correctly, huh? Spend correctly. Let us get new leaders, young people who will go into the government bureaucracy. Let us use technology. We have the technology now. We can do e-government, e-governance, at a much higher plane now. No? Using the different models, yung mga best practices and benchmarks of the world. We don't have much time, and I think my only message is we're calling out on the youth. No? Of course, this is a democracy. We can do protests. If you did not vote for the current administration. That's part of democracy. I did not vote for this administration. I voted for Isko Moreno and Doc Willie. But, you know, at the end of the day, what do we do with the 12 years that we have? What do we do in Congress? What do we do in the Senate? What do we do in the LGUs? What do we do in the departments? Again, half of the resources of government will be with the administration. Therefore, we must demand that the administration um, fulfill the needs of the country, of those na nasa laylayan, yung walang-wala, yung walang magawa sa walang pagkakataon. These people, no, yung marginalized, poor, powerless, and faceless. Um, be true to your promise. No? Sabi nyo, you will make this country great again. But again, making this country great will not take just one administration or one president. It will take the effort of everybody. So, we're asking all Filipinos, lahat po tayo magtrabaho. Demokrasya pa rin to. Pwede tayong magprotesta, pwede tayong lumaban. Kung mali, pwede rin tayong sumuporta. Kung tama. So, yun lang po. Ako po si Nato Agbayani, isa po sa mga host ng Para sa Bayan on TNC. On behalf of the Political Officers League of the Philippines, naway nabigyan namin kayo ng konting nuggets ng ano yung dapat natin gawin para sa bayan. Yan lang po. Maraming salamat at magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. God bless you all and God bless the Philippines.